I guess it's a Monday. Is everybody feeling like it's a Monday? It's a Monday. Again. Um, I don't even know where to start. There's just this weekend, the energy, if you guys did not feel that energy, if you're on this planet and you are awake and you're doing your path, you had to feel that energy. Okay. And Saturday was really interesting because when it came in, I was we just finished being out and about, came in, I'm getting myself like kind of relaxed down, and I said, "Oh, it's kind of hot outside, so let me see what projects I want to work on." And I had my laptop on and I was looking up some things and doing some research, and as I'm sitting there, I felt this wallop of energy come in. And when it did, it came in straight through my spine, my shoulders, my neck. The pain was so intense. I said, what the hell just happened on this planet? Because I'm feeling it. Sure enough, as I'm sitting there feeling it, I get this text from one of my other star friends. And she's telling me, she says, are you feeling this energy? I just got this energy out of nowhere that's putting pressure in my chest and it's hurting and da 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 down. And I'm like, yeah. And then I watched the young one that I caretake. All of a sudden, she shifted. She went into like this quietness and then kind of getting depressed. And I go, are you okay? And she goes, no, I feel strange. It's like, I said, how long you been feeling strange? About 20 minutes, 30 minutes or so? She goes, yeah. And I said, yeah, something just happened. So then I find out that Conscious Erin, she did a um, video on consciousness of the Schumann's energy and what just happened. And I was just like, oh, well, that explains everything. Everything that was white just went white. And then there was these stripes, and I was like, that explains everything. That explains why this is going on. So I'm thinking, okay, so I got into a medicine bath and got myself recentered. Everything was fine. And then another wave came through and happened again. And I was like, damn, Sunday. Oh my God. So by Sunday, which was yesterday, I'm like, okay, let me just get up and try to let's go out and walk around. We went to Home Goods and to look and see what Halloween stuff that they had posted up already, because who's taking the place of Joanne's and who's going to be doing that? And I said, huh. And then I come and find out that Joanne's is going to be like one of the main stores that are going to be used for Spirit Halloween. So I was just like, oh, okay, that's fine. So, and then by the time we got back and I made breakfast and cooked everything, I was just like, oh my God, I just want to lay down. You know what? I think this is the hardest thing for a lot of us as clearers, healers, priestesses, mages, whatever you are giving yourself a title of. This is something that's hard for us to do when it's so much energy coming in and it's telling you, I need you to be still. I need you to just be. I need you to get off your cell phone. I need you to get off. And you know what's funny? I watch how the kitties, now that I haven't seen one cat this morning, they're laid out. They're not doing nothing. They're just like down. But it's funny, if I'm on a laptop or I'm on my cell phone and I'm doing something, researching, doing, scrolling, whatever, Kitty will come in and she will literally walk up and will put her head underneath my hand on the phone and take my hand off the phone. And she's like, and then she sits and looks at me. Then I put my hand back on and I'm doing something. She comes up again, get your hand off the phone. So then I say, okay, fine. Put the phone down. I go to the laptop. She comes over, takes my hand off the laptop. I said, okay, you want you time. Okay. Close down the laptop, shut off the phone. Okay, I'm here with you now. Eye to eye. Let's talk. What's on your mind? What's going on? How are you feeling, kitty? You know? So I'm just like, oh my God, what is this cat doing to me? What does she want? She's like, meow, meow, meow. I'm like, okay, what? So the energy was off the chart. Dream World was very surreal, but yet and still, when I came back into this energy, couldn't 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 bring that dream memory back. And I said, okay, that wasn't a dream then. I was actually doing something in a different realm on a different timeline. So I'm like, okay, I guess it'll show itself sooner or later what I was doing. And it was just so blatantly, energetically happening. So I want you to pay attention to your energy when you're working with your laptops, when you're working with your phones. When you're increasing in your energy, what's going to start happening is you're going to get frustrated because you can't operate your stuff like you used to. Okay, like trying to maintain, do something on your phone, you got to go back a couple times. It's missing. It's not closing. It's not open because the phone is having a hard time trying to read your energy. Okay, because your energy keeps shifting and it's having a hard time trying to keep up with you. Okay, just letting you know. Yeah, that's 411 there. So I've just been in this quiet space of just being and taking my time, just kind of, feeling things out. So today's title is Hellraiser, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. So how do I say this? And I just want you to pay attention to how the energy, by next year, a lot of people are not going to be on YouTube anymore. And I'm going to tell you why. Because people want to have real interaction. They want to have that human connection. And when it's getting bombarded with a lot of AI and a lot of AI stuff coming in, that's fine and dandy for people who want to run the AI stuff and they're getting paid for putting up their AI thing. But at the same time, people are not going to want to be around all that. They're going to want to have heart-to-heart type of communities where people can talk about real stuff and you get a real response, not some synthetic talking to you. Even though we created it and gave it all the energy of memory and stuff that we wanted to give it and makes note of it, but still, nothing beats a heart-to-heart talk or a face-to-face talk type of thing versus a synthetic, artificial world. It's artificial for a reason. So I got that message earlier this morning and it was like, yeah, that's going to change big time. It's just going to, people are not going to be interested. And then there's going to be all this revamping that's going to happen because they're going to be like, oh, we don't have enough influencers. Influencers are not doing their part to influence timelines, to influence the masses. Hellraiser, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. How is that going to play out if you follow what I'm talking about? Now, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, if you go to that movie, and it's a good movie, I love that movie. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. They play that movie good. Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Some of you that know me personally, you know where I'm going with this. Because we got a Mr. and Mrs. Smith situation. Now, in the movie, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, they are leading secret lives, but neither one of them know about the other one, what they're doing. But they're wondering why their relationship isn't like it should be, because neither one is revealing who and what they really are. They're hiding a deep secret. Sounds familiar anywhere? Anything out there? So, in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, even though they both do the same job of taking out the baddies, doing their job, they're in it to win it. They come home together. They play the whole role of married, and they got the whole everything until they one day are having dinner and they start to discover something's going on. Now, why did I put Hellraiser in front of it, of Mr. and Mrs. Smith? Because we're in a Hellraiser moment. A Hellraiser moment, if you look at the movie Hellraiser, don't worry, I'm putting this all together so you can see the big picture of what's happening. When you look at Hellraiser, it's very dimensional. When you play with the box, okay, you have the box, the puzzle box, gold and black puzzle box. Everyone is lured into that puzzle box. What's your pleasure, sir? So they're playing with the box and they get pushed into a different dimension. And then they have to unplay it to try to get rid of those entities that have come in. So I kept asking Spirit, why do you want me to speak on this? Why do you want me to call it this? How is this going to be helping people that are going to watch this? Spirit says, just show up. We'll give you the information. I said, okay. I need it to be for the highest good. You ready? So the Hellraiser effect is when you're with someone and you think that everything is just right. You think you're on the same page. You think you're flowing in a good way. Everybody's showing up, same page. You got the marriage of the year going on. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, they thought that of each other. They knew they were having some kind of communication problem going on, but then Hellraiser shows up, and one of the famous words that Hellraiser likes to say, Pinhead, we will tear your soul apart. We're going to reveal to you the deepest, darkest stuff that we can bring to your table to break you up. We're going to bring up everything to break it all apart. How many of us are right now going through a Hellraiser moment with a little bit of Mr. and Mrs. Smith? How many of us are sitting in that? And with the amount of energy coming in, hey, lovely, with the amount of energy that's coming in, you have to really be very wise in yourself and pay attention to when a Hellraiser energy is coming in to infiltrate Mr. and Mrs. Smith. So in the days to come, whatever is not standing in truth, whatever is camouflage, whatever is locked under key, put in a box, locked up so it's not to be seen, is going to be revealed. It's going to come unlocked. It's not going to be able to be hidden anymore. This will be the Hellraiser effect. Tear it all apart. Tear it apart. Because how else do you really get to the truth of things if you're living a life of a Mr. and Mrs. Smith moment? You have your, oh yeah, let's make that dish of the, oh, how do you like my curtains? How do you like the color? How do you like what I'm wearing? How do you like this? Oh, honey, that looks nice. That looks great. And then underneath it is all about this hidden energy of not being truthful. So then when Mr. and Mrs. Smith discover, whoa, we both do the same thing, but we're on opposite sides of the spectrum. Catch me if you can moment comes up. Who's doing the catching? If they can. And then when you're done with the catch me if you can moment, what is going to be said and not be said, and how it's all going to be displayed to make it look like everything's okay. But the Hellraiser effect is there. It's the elephant in the room. And you got Mr. and Mrs. Smith still trying to play undercover. How's that working? Because in this moment, to really be in our true, authentic selves, we have to be willing to stand in our light of ourselves and speak our truth. That's how we create transformational lives with people. All of us that come onto our platforms, rather it's Instagram, rather it's Facebook, rather it's TikTok, rather it's here, rather it's Patreon, rather it's Rumble. Let's get ready to rumble. Doesn't matter what the platform is. When you come on and you are representing your brand, or you're representing what you're doing, or you're representing what you are creating, you're representing a purpose that you're stepping into. And you're also representing a moment where you can help heal others that might be in a Hellraiser moment, and they too are playing Mr. and Mrs. Smith. There's so much of this going on right now. Everyone's flipping and playing all these different roles. But the ones that show up and they're really authentic in themselves and they speak their truth, they're the ones getting hit the most. They're the ones being targeted. They're the ones, oh, you can't say that. Oh, you can't show up like that. Oh, you know, all that stuff is coming out. So I guess it's okay to just be like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Undercover. You never know what the truth really is until you have a Hellraiser event that snaps you out of the illusion of how you're really living. Now I'm going to tie this all in with this medicine. It's going to spiral all the way in. And I'm going to show you how it's showing up with a lot of us and what we say to ourselves every day. How we compare ourselves to what we see out there in others. How many of us are in this place of, maybe I'm on the wrong path. I took the wrong path. I did it wrong. Maybe I should have been like this person where I could be making all this money and living the life and having the cars and having all this. And I could have that wonderful wife or that wonderful husband. And we can be this and we could do this and we can do that and come together and I could be that. But what if you're not that? What if you're still trying to figure out what you're here to be doing? What if you have already crashed and burned so many times, you wiped the slate clean, and you're finally saying, fuck this, I got to start all over again. This isn't working. And you got to strip it all down. That's your Hellraiser moment. Tear it all apart. What was the illusion? What was just killing you to stay in the illusion of what was going on and not really being authentic? Seeing everything for what it is and being willing to just say, okay, this isn't working anymore. I got to step out of this. And not judging yourself on making that change. This is why that energy came up so strong this weekend, to help people be still and settle in and to look and see what was being revealed. What's being said to you? What's being whispered to you? What are the ancestors saying to you? Are you hearing them? So while we're having these Hellraiser events with the Mr. and Mrs. Smith on opposite end perspective, how is that energy going to be influencing with Mr. and Mrs. Smith? What's going to be happening? Are they going to reveal the story to each other and then stand together in the middle and then face the world and take it and tear it apart and bring it back together again? Because in the movie Mr. and Mrs. Smith, after they realized who they really were and what they were doing and living a deceptional life with each other, they actually had to still come together at the very end and fight their way out together. They had to tear it all down to get out of there, because the gig was up. Gig was up. So how many of us right now are standing in a Mr. and Mrs. Smith situation where you're one way this way and then you're another way? What part of your life are you mimicking? And you're trying to talk yourself into it that it's okay. But sooner or later, you can't do it anymore because you're not being true. And then what happens when it all comes crumbling down? What's the first thing we do? We run back to something safe and familiar. And we start building from that point. So you had your Hellraiser event, but here's the illusion. Do you keep that illusion part of yourself silent and you don't go into it? Or do you actually go ahead and finish ripping the hell out of it, dig it all up for what it's worth, so there's nothing left false to stand on? And you got to be there butt naked in yourself, where there's nothing to hide. This is where this energy of anyone that is going through something where you've been faking it, lying about it, just been painting on a smile, and your ass is deeply depressed inside, you're pissed off at the world, and you're just putting on a face saying, hi, showing up, doing that. Nah. Because as we keep moving in this energy, this conscious energy that's driving it, because we're told that this is the date that this is going to create this, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, we got planets and things lining up, also participating with it. That's going to cause that effect. So really, right now is this time of when you're noticing that Hellraiser effect coming in. You feel it. You see it around people. You see it around yourself. What needs to be torn apart so that you can actually be true to yourself and say, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. This is why right now there's such a high influx of healers stepping away from their work. It's like, who's benefiting from what I do? Am I making a difference in the world? Am I helping anybody? And stepping away from things that no longer make sense. We're looking at things that no longer align with us. And it's okay to be able to say that. So if you are stepping out of something and you're moving past that, that's where you want to be. You want to be authentic. And I think in our society, we have such a hard time with being true, authentic beings, because society tells you you have to look a certain way, you have to have a certain amount of money, you have to live a certain way in order to be acceptable. Because anything that's outside that construct is either frowned upon, judged upon, you're not doing it right. So it leaves you questioning yourself. Then you jump into the role of being a Mr. and Mrs. Smith. You cover it up. And when we cover things up and we're not being real with ourselves, we get that Hellraiser effect, where it's all torn apart. So this is where, as this energy keeps shifting us through these timelines, you're going to feel inside of yourself like, you just want to scream, because there's so much of you that's being pulled on, and your senses, your nervous system, your muscles, your blood, your bones, your eyes, your brain, your sense of being, your sense of thought, trying to get grounded. And what it's coming down to is fine-tuning that little part of ourselves where it makes sense. It feels good. And when you can fine-tune and really sit in that heart space of yours and come from there and mean what you say and do what feels aligned to you, That's how you get rid of the Hellraiser effect. Because then the illusions of what you think or how you're supposed to be fall away. Then the true essence of you comes up. Then you're not duping yourself with a Mr. and Mrs. Smith moment. And then got to come back through and say what you really meant. I remember when I forgot her name. But I remember when she was really big in, what was her name, you guys? I just forgot her name. She was really big in the angel world, angel numbers. Doreen, what was the last name? That one. And I remember the day when she was telling everybody to put the cards down. She was telling everybody da-da-da-da, and she was no longer going to be doing it. And she was switching over to becoming, because Jesus came and talked to her. Now, let's dive into this. Because we know that this whole thing, this matrix, is made up of all these different characters. Some that are pretending to be the real thing and they're not. They're mimickers. And then they pop up and tell you that you're misleading people and it's the wrong thing and you have to stop doing what you're doing. And then you have that moment where it's like, he came and talked to me and told me I throw all your stuff away, throw this away, and this is the way we're supposed to go, and da-da-da-da-da. And then now everybody's looking at you like, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that the 18 or 20 years that you were doing this doesn't mean anything now? It was all wrong? And now you're telling me you're switching gears and now you're going this way? There's a lot of people that were upset about that. But then if you really step back and if you were already in your awakening stage and you already know what's real and what's not real and how this whole construct is put together as a manipulation of control, you would have known that that person was infiltrated. That they were being tested out. And that there's probably some part of them that always was like that to begin with. So this is that Hellraiser part. When we ignore how somebody really, really does think and function versus them covering it up to try to appease being with someone else. To try to cover up, be undercover. But really undercover, you're not really like that. The real agent really shows up. The real legit person really comes forward. That never was really on the same page with you to begin with. Just went along with it. Kind of like, what is this? We can tack on another part of it. A total recall moment. Oh, you just woke up out of this and you asked questions and everything was an implant. Fake. So, I also remember when I was thinking about the title of this, I said, this is a weird ass title. What is it? I'll just show it and talk about it. I'm like, and I remember something. And they showed it to me. My Hellraiser moment. Heck, several. But the most recent one is when my friend Deb passed. And I remember how we would get together and whatever things that I went through or what, and I'm tying this all together. How we would have conversations on our phone, and our phones would have this weird clicking sound on it, and all of a sudden our phones would just turn off. Or she would be calling me and I would never hear the phone ringing and the ringer was on, but it would never reach me. We were always having phone issues. So she went out and got another phone. And then a week and a half later, I got another phone with thinking everything's okay. Everything's going along good for like 2 weeks or so. And all of a sudden starts happening again. Because we were so good at whenever I had certain encounters, dreams, or whatever, we would sit and decode it and put it all together. And we went down some rabbit holes where we were able to trace it and find a news feed that proved it. That I was either in that timeline, saw that number, saw that door, saw that room, I was in that area, and boom, found it. We were like, whoa. We were having too much fun decoding stuff. And the day when she was taken off, and then 2 weeks later, after all that was done, folding up clothes, putting things away, I hear as clear as day. How else were we going to break this up if we didn't take her out to give to you? Clear as day. And I remember when I heard it, I was like, who the hell just said that to me? I know there was nobody on my team that would say something like that. But that was such a Hellraiser energy that was out there that said that to me. And I just remember dropping everything. Oh my God, I became like this gangster yoga girl. Just like snapped and I threw everything out and said, come on, show your goddamn self. Come on. You know, I was ready to go. Let's do it. I'm ready to fight. Got real quiet. Nothing was said. But I do remember the nights afterwards in battle, kicking some serious booty. Yeah, I haven't heard those words since. Must have got the person or the thing. Must have got rid of it. So I say this with this title, Hellraiser, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. When we don't stand in our truth and we don't represent ourselves real in front, when a Hellraiser moment happens, do you come back and try to be real? Or do you still kind of cover it up? Are you still playing the role? Because right now, each and every one of us, we're going to start paying attention a little bit more of who's creating content, who's fear-mongering, who's influencing, trying to control the narrative. We're going to pay a little bit more attention to how authentic are you? What are you saying that's really true? How is what you're saying going to help me? Well, I hope my message today does help you to see where your Hellraiser moment might just be around the corner, or you might just be going through it, or you might just be finishing it up, because the game of Mr. and Mrs. Smith got really surreal, and boom, it's like, okay, I got to step out of the illusion. And let me tell you, I know a lot of Mr. and Mrs. Smiths out there who play the role, they look the part of the happy couple doing everything together, but underneath it all, they are nowhere near that. They're nowhere near each other. They're separate agents trying to keep themselves covered so that the real one doesn't figure out what their job really is. We can take it one step further. When you are on your purpose and you have something important to do in this world, who gets sent to you to infiltrate your being so that you don't fulfill it? Do you think it's by chance that you stopped living your dream and you had all the kids instead? You think that's by chance? Was that really a part of your fate line? Or was that a part of the game? So that you wouldn't reach your true purpose? Do you think that job or all that schooling you went through and you got so far in debt that now you're trying to pay off the debt, but you're working yourself to death to just get to that place of retirement so that you can retire to do what? Enjoy the rest of what life you have left? All of this stuff that we've been told. We were in a Hellraiser moment already. And there was a whole bunch of Mr. and Mrs. Smiths running it, tearing our souls apart. So today, right now, I need you to take time out to really look and see what Hellraiser Cube puzzle is unraveling. And can you change that so you don't have to be showing up as a Mr. and Mrs. Smith? Playing like you're this wonderful person and you got it all together, but underneath you're this gonna take out the bad guys, or you're this hiding who you really are, but you're showing up here so you can get the views and the clicks. I can care less. I show up, give the message, set the codes, send it out. That's how that rolls. And let me tell you something. When that energy came in on Saturday and Sunday, and when I had to get in that medicine bath, I talked to the spirit of water and I said, show me where this is coming from. What is going on? What do I need to do to anchor? And I was shown. And it was all about anchoring that light into the grid, bringing the codes into that, and settling. And then detaching and moving out of that space. So right now, it's really crucial that you understand why you're here and what you're doing. And pay attention to the ones around you. Are they supportive, or are they just a Cinnamite that's just there trying to tear your world apart? Because they don't want to see you succeed. They don't want to see you get somewhere before them. You got those out there too. Got to be aware of those. Always jealous, always in that space. Because there's something that they can't connect to. So right now, with everything going on, what timeline do you want to be on? What timeline do you really want to anchor on? And maybe you don't need to be that Mr. and Mrs. Smith. You don't need to have a Hellraiser moment because you already own the magic of the box. You already know what the code is. So now you can just flip it. And you don't have to have all the weird visits from the unknown world of distortion and illusions of all of that stuff. This is our pivotal moment right now. And if you think it's all going to just stop after we get to August 8th, no. That's just another liftoff as it keeps going. Keeps on going up there until it reaches where it's collected enough of the higher consciousness of the Christos change of all of us that's lifting up to anchor. Oh, it's going to keep on going. So don't think it's all going to taper off when we get to the 8, because it's not. That's a collective thing. It's not. And someone said it beautifully. I can't even remember who said it. It was on somebody's platform. But this lady who was talking, she said it beautifully. She said, things have been manipulated so much, none of us know what the real year really is. We don't even really know what the real year is. Don't you think if we knew what that was, we would be able to move a lot easier? Why was everything set off artificially and made up holidays and all this stuff to get you to follow that energy? So you would stay in the system with that. I tell you what, the days when I stopped participating in all of that stuff, all those different holidays of that, was nice. Now, the only ones I like to have fun with is Halloween and my birthday, give or take. But everything else, nah, not interested. I don't care. So, hopefully today, this message rings true to you, and you start to find out what your Hellraiser event was, and if you're playing a role of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. What are you covering up? Are you ready to be really, truthfully authentic? And that doesn't mean faking it, trying to look like everything is A-okay. Because some of us, we're in that Hellraiser moment. We're being ripped apart. And it's not looking pretty. It's not feeling good. So in that moment, this is where we step in to the truth of ourselves. And once we embrace the truth of ourselves and you really embrace that, and you stop lying to yourself, that's when everything starts to change. Because no longer are you supporting an energy that no longer is not the truth of you, that doesn't match you. All right, with that being said, let's jump into today's Kin. We have Kin 133, that makes that 7 energy. Of course, it's Gamma. And today is August 4th. Red Electric Skywalker, I activate in order to explore bonding wakefulness. I seal the output of space with the electric tone of service. I am guided by the power of navigation. The color is red. The planet is Mars. The chakra is the solar plexus. And the earth family is signal. We do have the rune, but I am not going to dive into that right now. The mystery sees the universe not necessarily as phenomenal, imaginal, or moral, but rather the mystery sees the universe as aesthetics. Aesthetics. Waking conscious mediumship, fourth dimensional cosmic cube, and mental sphere consciousness. Can I get to that without, hold on, let me see if I can, I might be able to do it. Can I, nope, what's going on? Nope. Ah, there it is. Okay, get out of there. Nope, hold on. Okay. Okay. Okay, here it is. Okay, we had the check one. There it is. Okay, so this would be, oh, that's interesting. The laguz, and it is the water forming that refines the mystery. So, water forming that refines the mystery. And it's interesting that it's underneath week 2 of the Pacific Plate. The Pacific Plate. So it's set up in a plate form. I'll show this to you so you know what I'm talking about. So that board, how it's set up in the Pacific Plates, you have 4 of them. So it's under the Pacific Plate. But this is interesting because over the weekend, Stefan Burns was talking about a plate that has split or shifted or something in the Pacific. And I'm like, interesting. This is on the Pacific Plate of today's room. Interesting. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our reads for today and wrap this up. How's everyone doing? Is everyone doing okay energetically? Did everyone feel that energy come in on Saturday? Came out of nowhere? Man, I'm telling you, I was just like, what the hell's going on? Oh, I like that. Okay. Yeah, today is like one of those days where I'm just like, just gonna kind of be. It's okay. It's nice, quiet, peaceful. Not trying to do anything. Just being quiet. And the energy has been really interesting dimensionally. Like when you wake up, you're like, wait, where was I? You know you were somewhere, but you can't quite put it together. It's like, where was I? All right, let's take a look. From my higher self cards, I have Hummingbird, Light Energy, Opening of the Heart, Dimensional. Hummingbird, Light Energy, Opening of the Heart, Dimensionally. So that hummingbird energy, you know, hummingbirds move in fast, swift, and they are the ones that are about opening up the portals. Okay, so those hummingbirds. You are not alone. Number 58. You are not alone. So some of you might be feeling like, oh my God, am I the only one going through this? Blah, 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 blah. No, you're not. You're not alone. We have crystal energy here from the Wisdom of the Star Ancestor cards. So crystals are definitely, if they're calling to you, please pay attention to that. The Soul Portal card is Angelic Healing, number 29. The angelic beings. And for our Heart of Love for 33, the Unconditional Center. I love this. Oh, wow. Shut the front door. This looks the same almost. Okay, so this is of the Secret Language of the Darkness, the Soul Light Transmission of the Shadow. And then when we look at the light side, now look at this. Look at this card. And then the one that shifts is the soul name. Look at this. These two look the same almost. So soul name. What is your soul name? What is that name that carries the connection of everything with you? What is that name? What's your soul name? Do you know what your soul name is? And it's not about what others call you. It's what is your soul name? What is that? What's your soul name? Okay. All right, lovelies. We'll start doing our prep, getting ready for our medicine that's going to be coming up for 10 days and how we're going to start flowing with that. It's going to be a really strong one, a powerful one, because like I said, you really need to pay attention to if you're having a Mr. and Mrs. Smith moment, and what's the Hellraiser event around it. Because the movie Hellraiser is all about those dimensional illusion parts that allows an energy to come in and wreak havoc with you. You know? And they make fun of the person when they come in and they say, oh, what is it this time? You weren't paying attention to what you're doing. You didn't mean to call us in. Think about the words that's being said in that movie. You didn't mean to call on us. You didn't mean to call us in. You weren't thinking. Remember what I said in the teachings that I received through the Taino family is a Maboya only needs a tiny little crack to get in, to tear everything apart, to break your system of you down, to take away the people you love, to explode it all, because it feeds off of that fear and negativity and anger, resentment, jealousy. It feeds on that. And I watch these things take down people that were not representing in the truth of who they were, and their stuff came up. They were pulling on Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They were covering up. And that Maboya comes in and it feeds on it so much to the point to where it just pulls out any love, any kind of anything that's there. It just destroys it. Gets rid of it. Breaks up relationships, families, tribes. And it's all because of jealousy, resentment, hate, the illusions of how am I supposed to be, fear, anything that has to do with that lower emotional stuff, that's what it comes in for. All right, lovelies. Be good to yourself. Much love. Thank you for joining me here on Be So Light. Like and subscribe. Be in your light. Be authentic. Don't have the Hellraiser moments. If you are in one, get rid of it. And for God's sakes, don't be a Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Be authentic. So you don't have to go back and have a total recall moment. Bye.